Hello my sweet friends, we are back with another reading vlog, and today the main objective is just to focus on my physical TBR. You guys can see my TBR cart on the side here, and she's full. More than full, actually. Books are starting to stack on top, which for me, I don't like that. I almost have this unspoken rule for myself that I don't like to have my TBR cart overflowing, and we're getting very close to it being more full than I would like. So this week we're just going to focus on reading books from our physical TBR. We're going to see how many we can get through, and I guess we'll just see what I pick up. The only book that I do need to pick up that's not on my physical TBR is my book club book. I tried to get it physically and I can't find it in any bookstores, and the Amazon shipping time is quite long. Like, it's going to get here after book club, so I was like, well, obviously there's no point in doing that. My book club is in a week from today actually, and I have not started the book. We're supposed to be reading Firefly Lane, so I downloaded it on my Kobo. I'm going to read it on that. However, I'm not going to pick up that one just yet. Right now I am currently in the middle of this book right here, so this is going to be the first book that we focus on in today's video. So I'm currently reading Mistborn book 1, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I am about 230 pages through this. I'm up to chapter 13, so I'm about a third of the way through, which I am really happy with. I started this book a couple of days ago, and it's actually been way easier to get through than I initially thought. I was really nervous that this was just going to be a really difficult book for me to read, not very digestible, not very accessible, but I was wrong, and you guys told me I had nothing to be worried about, and you are so right. I did try picking this book up a couple months ago, and I just couldn't get into it, but I don't think I was focused enough. I feel like when it comes to high fantasy books like this, the best way for me personally to get into it is just to give it every ounce of my attention for the first 100 pages, and then I can kind of relax a little bit. So I found the best way to do that is by listening to the audiobook whilst reading for at least the first 100 pages. So I feel like I'm consuming it two different ways at once. I'm reading it physically with my eyes, but also listening to it in my ears, and I feel like that really helps for me to cement the world building, who the characters are, what they're doing. It also helps me not to just get distracted and let my mind wander off because I'm also listening to it. So that's what I did for the first 100 pages, and I felt like that was super helpful, and I would really recommend doing that for any books that you're a little bit intimidated with, because that's just something that helps me a lot personally. But basically in this book we are following two POVs. We're following Kel and Vin, and in this world it's almost like the bad guy won the war. The person who you didn't want to be king, or the ruler of the land, that is who is king. That is who is ruling everything, and he's just not a nice guy. So Kel is on a mission to kind of overthrow the king, the ruler. He almost seems a bit like a god, I would say. He is trying to raise an army to overthrow this ruler guy. So that's kind of the main objective, I think, of this book. Hopefully I'm understanding it well. But we also meet Vin, who ends up being, I don't know if you would say a Mistborn or just she is Mistborn, but it basically means she has powers to be able to control lots of different things. It all works through metals, and I don't think I'm going to do a good job of explaining it. The magic system is so interesting to me, and I'm loving learning about it. But basically, she has a power over metals, and those metals are linked to different things. So she can fly, she can encourage people to think certain ways and have certain emotions, and Kel is also a Mistborn. So he finds Vin and he's like, I want you on my team because there's not many of us around. Mistborns are very rare. So now Vin is part of Kel's team, but he's also got a bunch of other experts in their fields who are all working together to try and overthrow this king. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't think I've done the best job at explaining it, but I'm loving it so far, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen next. So this is the book we're going to start off with for our reading vlog. Been able to put this down all afternoon. I've either been physically reading it, or I've been listening to the audiobook if I'm doing something where I can't physically be reading it, like cooking or working on my reading journal or anything like that. But this is so good, so good, and I'm not shocked. I expected it to be good. This was probably a 5-star prediction for me, just because of how much everyone else seems to love it. I just feel like I haven't read a fantasy like this in so long, where everything feels so purposeful and so well thought out. The magic system is incredible. The characters are so well developed. They're flawed, but they're still likable. The political situation is intriguing. Everything, I really, really love it. I've read a lot since I talked to you last. I just got up to part 4, chapter 26, which is page 428. So I have just over 200 pages to go. So I'm like 2/3 of the way through, I guess, which I'm shocked. I've read like 200 pages today. I was not expecting to read that much, but like I said, I just can't put it down. It's just so good. And every time I'm not reading it, I'm just thinking about the characters and like what's gonna happen and how the heck they're gonna figure this out, because they're in such a messy situation and I just don't understand how it's gonna come together. In saying that, this is obviously the first book in a series, so maybe it won't come together in this book. I don't know. I'm so hooked, and I'm so glad that there are so many other books to read in this series, because obviously if I love this, I can just continue to dive further and further into this world, and that just makes me so happy. I've been looking for this feeling for so long, like finding a series that I'm just so obsessed with, and just like finding a series that you love. Like when you read the first book and then you love it and you realize that there's like so many other books in the series to read, it is just the best feeling. It is the best, and I'm just so happy. I'm so happy. So imagine putting off that book for maybe like 6 months. Imagine that book sitting on your TBR cart for 6 months and it being a 5-star read and you just didn't pick it up because you're intimidated. Imagine that. Definitely couldn't be me. Not me at all. It's next day now. I'm now up to chapter 31, which is page 514. So I have just over 100 pages left. I think I'll be able to finish this afternoon. It's only like 2:30 p.m. right now, so I think I'm just gonna sit and binge this. I'm kind of scared because obviously the last 100 pages or so I'm assuming will be the most hectic, and there's like a big battle or a big like war type thing that's gonna, I think, gonna take place, and Brando Sando just doesn't seem like the type of author that wouldn't kill off a character. Like, he gives me vibes that he would definitely kill off a character, and I'm scared. He might not, like I don't know, but I feel like I'm just getting the vibe that something bad is gonna happen, so I'm a little bit scared. And I'm also even more scared because I'm so attached to these characters now. I feel like the found family in this book has been so good. Like at the start of this book, these characters were obviously like strangers to each other, and now they are truly like a family. They really are. And it blows my mind how well Brandon Sanderson has written these worlds and these characters. I know I've said that already in this reading vlog, but specifically even just like side characters who aren't necessarily extremely important still have depth to them and have still had character development. We've seen like change happen in them. They're not just two-dimensional, which is just like I don't know. I just wasn't I shouldn't say I wasn't expecting it, because I knew that Brandon Sanderson's writing would be incredible. This is my 3rd book by him, so I should have gone in knowing that, but I'm still just blown away. Like, it's just really, really good. I'm having so much fun, but equally, I'm terrified. It's now the next day, and I ended up finishing The Final Empire last night. So good. I was not expecting it to take the turn that it did. Like I really didn't think the author was going to. I'm trying to think of a way to say anything without spoiling anything, but something big happened that I wasn't expecting, and I respect it. I respect the author doing that, because I don't know, it's a big thing to do in a book like this, and I'm so intrigued as to where the series is going to go from here. Like, I really have no idea. So I'm very excited to continue that at some point, but I'm not going to let myself buy the next book in the series until I've made my way through a little bit more of my physical TBR, because like I said, my TBR cart is overflowing, and I keep doing this thing where I'll buy new books and then read them straight away and not read the books that have been on my TBR cart for months, which is what happened to this one. I think this one has been on my cart since either the start of this year or the end of last year. I forget exactly how long, but it's been there for a long time, and I only just now got to it, so I'm not gonna let myself get the next one just yet. I'm gonna try and clear my cart a little bit. But today I did start a new book, which is How to Love Your Neighbor by Sophie Sullivan. I just thought after finishing The Final Empire, which is just quite a complicated high fantasy, I just wanted something completely different and something a little bit mindless, if I'm being completely honest. Like something where I just didn't have to put so much energy into it. So I thought just a cute little rom-com would be amazing. This one was on my monthly TBR for last month, but I didn't get around to it. I did start it. I read about 50 pages of it last month and then just got distracted with other things, I think. I don't even remember really what happened. But I picked it up today and continued it, and now I'm at chapter 19, which is page 137. So maybe like not quite halfway, maybe a little over a third. It is 340 pages, so we have about 200 pages to go, and this is just about a girl called Grace. She has inherited a house and she wants to renovate it and restore it and just update it. She's also studying to be an interior designer, so she's really passionate about homes and design and all of those sorts of things. But the house next to this house that she has inherited has been bought by this guy who turns out to be just like a rich, grumpy man, and he really wants to buy Grace's house so that he can just like knock that house down and extend his property. And obviously Grace is just not wanting that. Like, she doesn't want to sell her house. He offers her so much money and she's like, no, like I inherited this house from my grandparents, like it's really important to me, it's really sentimental to me, but he just like doesn't get it. And there's been a bit of like neighborhood rivalry, I guess. Like, he is trying to basically make her want to move, and she is also now just like grumpy with him, so she's just being annoying as well. So they're just being annoying. I feel like it kind of reminds me a little bit of You Deserve Each Other. It's definitely a different premise, because You Deserve Each Other is about a couple who are breaking up and trying to like get the other person to break up with them, but it kind of has the same vibe to it. Like, they're trying to make life miserable for each other, really, but they have so much chemistry and they can't stay away from each other. Like, I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it. It's just fine, but it is exactly what I was wanting, in the sense of it's not taking any sort of thought or like effort from me. I'm just able to enjoy the story. But I don't know, I'm not obsessed. Like, it's not really like doing much for me. I'm not connected at all, so it might just be like a quick little fun read, and at least we'll get it off the physical TBR, which will be a good thing. So I do feel like coming from a high fantasy that was like so layered, so much character development, just like so much to it, and like so much happening at all times, like this is the epitome of mastermind, you know? And then going to this, it just feels a bit, what's the word? Like jolty. You're just like, oh, like she's having a fight with her neighbor and he doesn't want her to borrow his ladder. Saving the world, doesn't want to lend out his ladder. Overthrowing the government, wants help designing his study. Very different ends of the spectrum, but you know, that's okay. It's nothing wrong with either one of them. Bit of a jump scare going from one to the other, you know? Those are all the thoughts I have to share so far. I don't remember where I was at last time I updated you, but I'm now at chapter 27, almost at page 200, so like 100 and something pages to go, and I really can't decide what my thoughts are on this book, because sometimes while I'm reading it I'm like, oh, it's cute, it's fine, it's whatever, and then sometimes I feel like it has some really cute scenes. I especially love the like found family that is building between all the characters. Like, I really like that aspect of it. And there was one scene kind of recently where they did this little like competition thing with their friends, and they like competed to like decorate a room, and it was just so wholesome and so cute, and I loved it. And then like kind of immediately after, there was a scene which I just like got the ick from, and I don't know why. There was nothing bad happened. It was just like the way they were talking to each other kind of cringed me out a bit, and so I just don't know how I feel about this book. I'm enjoying it, but I don't know, it's just like nothing super crazy, which is fine. That's really why I went into this book. I was just like, I want something chill, I want something fun, something where I don't have to think too much, and that's what it is. I really don't have have that many complaints. My major complaint is that it's just like not blowing me away, but that's okay. I think what I'm gonna do is, I just got home from church. It's Sunday night, and I think I'm going to switch over to the audiobook for a little while because it's on Spotify, and I think I'm just gonna sit and crochet. I've been making granny squares for a project I'm working on, so I might just continue doing that for a little while as a bit of like a winding down, chilling activity. I probably could finish this book tonight, but I don't know if I will. I guess we'll wait and see. Crocheted a bunch of granny squares and also got up to chapter 39, which is page 280. I'm still enjoying this. Like, it's cute. It's just a classic rom-com. I feel like one thing I've really noticed in this book is that the main male character calls a love interest cute so often, and I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like once you notice it you can't unnotice it, and maybe it's actually not that dramatic, but now that I've noticed it I just can't stop thinking about it. But he has called her cute at least like once a chapter, usually more. I feel like in every chapter I've read so far, and I'm just like, please come up with a new word. And he does use other words, but he's always being like, you look so cute, you're so cute, she looks so cute, either in his head or like verbally to her. And I'm just like, please expand your thoughts. Like, please give her a different compliment, because I'm so sick of reading the word cute. And I don't know why it's bothering me so much, because it's not like a bad thing. I feel like at this point I'm kind of just reading it to finish it, and I'm kind of just looking forward to finishing it. It's definitely not like at the top of my recommendations for rom-coms. I feel like there are so many other ones that I would recommend before this one, but it's definitely not bad. Like, it's not one of those books where I'm like, don't waste your time, because it's not like that. It's good, it's fine. I just think it's gonna be one of those books that I probably will finish and never think about again. Do I want to keep reading this, or do I want to read the other book that I have been reading? I should just finish this, but I'll probably read my other book. I finished this book. I listened to the rest of it on my morning walk this morning, and you know what? It was fine. It was good. I have nothing really to say about this. I feel like I've said so much about it already. It was fine. Like 3 stars. I'm kind of glad to be done with it. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm very, very, very happy to be moving on to my next book, which is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hannah. I'm reading this on my Kobo. I think I mentioned I haven't been able to find the physical copy anywhere. And this is the book club book of the month. Little confession. Book club is in 2 days. Today's Monday. It is almost 6 p.m. So we have tonight, we have tomorrow, and then book club is Wednesday morning. So we have to get a wriggle on with this. In saying that, I have actually started it. I haven't updated you, but I've been reading it every night before bed. This has been my like before bed book, which is a little bit rogue for me, because usually I try to pick things that are not too emotional to read before bed, like not super heavy, not super complicated, not super emotional. This has already made me cry twice. So don't know why I've decided to read it before bed, but I have been. And I'm actually 60% of the way through this book just from reading it over the last maybe 3 nights before bed for about an hour. I will say I've been struggling to sleep at the moment. I just have a lot running around in my brain, and that has meant bad sleeps, but a long time reading before bed, so hence why I've read 60% of this. And my thoughts so far, I don't even know what to say. I really don't. This is my first Kristen Hannah book, and if you don't know what this book is about, it is honestly just following 2 women throughout their life. You meet them when they're in their teenage years and they live across the road from each other, and that's kind of how they meet. They become friends just because they live on the same street, and they just very quickly decide that they're going to be best friends in the way that I feel like children do. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you're just like, you're going to be my best friend. And I would say most of the time that doesn't stick, but sometimes it does, and for these 2 women, it stuck. And the book itself is broken down into decades. So you meet them in the 70s when they're teenagers, and then in the 80s they're in their 20s. You get to watch them go to college and kind of like start their careers, and then you move into the 90s when they're in their 30s and they're a little bit more established. Obviously I don't want to say like what is really going on, because, or at least like the details of it, because that would just be a spoiler, but it is very much just like a slice of life. Like it doesn't really feel like there's a huge plot. You're just following them as they make some good choices, some bad choices. You follow their friendship and how their friendship develops and changes as they get older, and life just changes, I guess. And it's just fascinating. Like, I feel like the way I'm describing it would not make me want to read it. Like, if I was listening to someone describe this book like this, it would not really make me want to pick it up. But when I tell you that this is such an addictive, all-consuming read, like I promise I'm not lying. If I wasn't so busy, I would definitely be picking this up way more throughout the day than I do. And if I wasn't reading this other book as well, I think I would have picked this up much more often, and I probably would be done with it by now. I've just been so busy with other things that I haven't been able to spend as much time reading. But I've been thinking about these characters so much. I've been thinking about how I relate to probably one character more than the other, but also just thinking about what are they going to do if this happens, and like what's going to happen if this happens. And like I said, I've cried twice already, and we're only 60% of the way through, and I've heard that this book makes you really cry, and I'm terrified to know what's coming my way. I picked this up because I saw bestie Sarah read it, and she described it as like, this is just girlhood, this is just being a girl, being a woman, and I honestly couldn't describe it any better. Like, it is just this like shared experience of being a woman. And I will say, like, obviously I haven't experienced everything that these women have experienced, but there's just something about being a girl, being a woman, that just like, you just have this, I don't know, this shared experience. And I feel like it's just written so well. It talks about being a woman and wanting a career, or being a woman and wanting to be a mother. Like, I start reading it and I just can't put it down. And I only put it down when I'm literally falling asleep. Like, I can't keep my eyes open anymore. I don't know. It doesn't feel like one of those 5-star reads in the sense of like, oh my gosh, like, you guys have to read this. It's crazy. Like, you have to pick it up right now, and you'll never, like, you just need to experience this. Like, it's not like that, but it is just this, like, it feels like it cuts deep. I don't know how to explain it, but it just makes you think a lot. I feel like I'm explaining this terribly. So I'm gonna go, I think I'm just going to have a shower, kind of like get in my pajamas, chill out, and I'll probably pick this up again before bed. I ended up getting to 70% last night. I think I still feel the same. I just can't believe how many different emotions this book is getting out of me. Some parts just make me so happy and feel so sentimental, but other parts make me cry. Some parts make me so angry. Some of the decisions that some of these characters are making are so frustrating. It's just making me feel so many things and just like think about so many things. Like, it makes me reflect so much on my own life, which is really interesting, because I feel like books are usually like escapism. I feel like there's just so much reflection happening throughout this book, because it is about these two girls who are just living their lives, and you kind of can see, like, I wonder what would happen if I made those decisions, or like reflecting on decisions that you have made. I don't know, it's really interesting. I'm gonna keep reading though, because like I said yesterday, book club is coming very quickly. I need to finish this today. Book club is tomorrow, so I'm gonna spend some time reading now. One of the plot lines that makes me so frustrated, obviously no spoilers, but there's just this, almost like this one that got away kind of vibe going on, and it is making me so angry, because I'm just like so stressed that something is gonna happen that I really don't want to happen, and if it happens I will be really disappointed, so it better not. I'm stressed. This is actually physically painful. Like, I feel like I'm the person going through this. I'm obviously not, but I can imagine how this character is feeling, and it's making me physically sick. Like my stomach just... I've just hit 87%, and I told myself that once I got to 90% I needed to put the book down and kind of do some other things that were not reading related, but something has just happened that I feel like might make me not want to put it down yet. Like, I might want to just keep reading. I don't know, we'll see. I'm a bit scared. Oh my gosh. No. If this doesn't have a happy ending, I'm literally suing. Like, I'm literally suing. Oh my gosh, I was not expecting to be this cut up about this book. Finally, oh my gosh. It only took you 30 years. I'm not having fun. These people aren't real. This isn't real life. It's ink on paper. You're being dramatic. I can't see the page because of the tears in my eyes. This is so painful. I'm being so dramatic. I keep thinking I'll be done crying, and then I keep crying. That was so painful. 5 stars. It's now the next day, and I feel like I've been able to process the book a little bit more, and so I just wanted to give you, I guess, my final thoughts. Honestly, it was so good. It was so good, but not in a, oh my gosh, I love these characters so much, I love this story so much kind of way, but more in a, oh my gosh, these characters feel so real, and this feels like it could be real life. And life isn't always very pretty, and life can be really difficult, and this book portrays that so well. Kind of 5 star. Does that make sense? I feel like the genre of the book that you're reading really impacts how you rate it. So like for me, for a romance book, I need to really like the characters in order to be able to give it a 5 star. And if I'm reading a thriller, I have to really be shocked, and the plot has to be really good for me to give it 5 stars. But for a general fiction book, a lot of the time the characters are not perfect, they're not always very likable, there's not always a whole lot of plot going on, but usually general fiction just makes me feel something, or just feel a lot of things, or it might just showcase the realities of life and how heartbreaking life can be, but also how happy life can be. I feel like it just makes me, it just makes me feel a lot of things, usually, is how I know if it's good or not. Like for me, a 5 star general fiction book is like, I care about the characters even if they're not very good, or like if they're not perfect or they're not likable, I still care about them and they feel real to me. And then also I care about the story, even if it's not necessarily good or happy, but it might evoke a lot of emotion from me. Like this book just felt like it was so real to me, and when I was reading it, I was so consumed by it that I wasn't thinking about anything else. Like maybe I was thinking about how the story impacted my life, or how I could see parts of myself in the story, or how I hope my life looks like certain things or doesn't look like certain things from the book, but it was still very much just all about the book. I was never distracted while I was reading this book. It just like the last thing I wanted to do while reading this book was check my phone, and that is just such a good sign to me, because it means I'm just so utterly consumed by this story and these characters, and that was just like everything to me, you know? I hope that makes sense, because I would not say that the characters were super likable to me. Like they really frustrated me, and they made some decisions that I really didn't agree with, and at times were just so selfish, and it really reflected in some consequences that they dealt with. And I also just don't know if it was a great example of friendship. Like I actually don't really want my friendships to look like the friendship that was in this book, because whilst they were really close and they relied on each other a lot, I would say it was more of an unhealthy friendship a lot of the time. Like they showed some happy moments, but there were some real like issues that these friends had, and if they had gone to therapy individually, just like for their own sakes, or if they had just been able to talk through and communicate their problems a lot more, I feel like their friendship would have been a lot healthier. And I feel like a lot of the time their friendship was only so close because they were almost like codependent, rather than because they were actually a great support system for each other. It's a very layered, complicated conversation, but they just felt so real to me, and I was just so affected by the story. I was so affected by the story. I actually don't think I've cried over a book that much in a long time. Like the last like 10 or 20%, I was going through it. It had me like sobbing, not just like a tear running down. Like I didn't like keep it all in because it's kind of embarrassing, but I really just like could not stop crying. And I was like, this story obviously really affected me, and it makes me want to read everything that Kristen Hanna has written, because obviously she can write. Obviously, I feel like everyone already knows that. She's sold literally millions upon millions of copies of books. So like, it's not like I've discovered this underground indie author that has never been heard of before. This is just my first experience reading from Kristen Hanna, and I'm so glad she has so many other books to read, because I was about to say I'm ready. I don't actually know if I am ready. I feel like a lot of her books I've seen tend to make people cry. I don't know if I'm ready for that quite yet, but I loved, yeah, just how consumed I was in the story, and just like how much of my life it took up. Like when I wasn't reading this book, I was thinking about this book and what was going to happen and what decisions these characters were going to make, and when they made the wrong decision, I was so upset with them, and then when they made the right decision, I was so happy for them. Like, it was just all consuming. So I'm so glad that I read it. There are some like really heavy topics discussed, so definitely check out trigger warnings if that is something that you think you should do. I feel like all of Kristen Hanna's books, from what I've gathered, are pretty heavy, so maybe if you're looking into any of them, maybe have a look into trigger warnings. But I just had a great time reading, and I think I'll be thinking about that story for a long time. Hello, my friends. Today is so exciting. It is book club day. I'm just bringing my tripod downstairs. And not only is it book club day, but it is 1 year of book club. It is our book club's first birthday, which is absolutely crazy and so fun. Technically, I think it's been a little over a year, but we missed like 1 month, I think. So we're at the point where we've read 12 books. So I'm just gonna pretend it's birthday. And so I planned a few activities. I'm gonna decorate. I pulled out some like birthday decorations that I just like already had from previous events and things. Perks about hosting a lot is that you just accumulate things that you can use over and over again. So I haven't like bought anything brand new for this. It's just, yeah, using stuff I already had. The girls will be here in a little over an hour, so let's get started. Here is what the table looks like. I might end up changing the candles because I'm not really vibing them. They don't look very cute, but very chill. Just have a tablecloth and a placemat. I made these, which are a book club ranking, so it has all of the books we've read, and then I thought it would be fun if we rank them from our favorite to least favorite. And then I also just already had this banner, so I made it say 1 year of book club. It just like comes with a bunch of letters, and you can just make it say what you want to say. And now I'm working on this banner to put underneath it. I basically printed off all of the covers of all of the books that we've read and stuck them onto colored cardboard. I can't find my hole punch anywhere, because I would definitely be doing that instead of taping them to string if I knew where it was, but that's okay. This should only take a couple minutes, and then I can hang this one up under the other banner. Just make it look like a cute little party, you know? I can't believe that we have read 12 books. No one has ever turned up to book club not having finished the book, which is pretty crazy, I feel like. Like, I'm pretty shocked that we've managed to actually read all the books in time. I'm not gonna say that we haven't had a lot of books we're finishing like day of or day before, because that definitely has happened many times. I think all of us have had times when we're like, oh my gosh, book club is tomorrow, I haven't finished the book. But we've all made it work. I think we've only had one book that we all rated 5 stars, and that was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which we read last year, and I still think about that book all the time. And then I think the next most favorite book is probably Lessons in Chemistry, which we read last month. Both general fiction, which is so interesting because that's not my usual genre. How cute does that look? Hopefully I can tape this up and it stays. It only needs to stay up for a few hours, so I've put them in order of like which order we read them. How cute. Okay, I think I'm all set up. I'm so excited about this. This is what it looks like. I put up some balloons. Obviously, I've already shown you the banner, or the 2 banners, and then the Jeopardy game. I made this as a little activity that we could do. So I've made questions relating to all of the books that we've read over the past 12 months. So these are our categories. We have straight facts, which are just questions like, what is the newest release that we read? Or like statistic related, numbers related, I guess. Which book has been read the most? That sort of stuff. Who, what, where are questions about like, where was this book set? What was the main character's name in this book? That sort of thing. Who said that is just like quotes from the book, and you have to guess which book it's from or which character said it. And then all about the author, obviously questions relating about the author, like who is the youngest author that we read from, who has released the most amount of books, that sort of thing. And then miscellaneous are just like random little fun facts, like which book was heavily inspired by Lord of the Rings, random stuff like that. And obviously you can see the numbers, and so like the higher the number, the more difficult the question, at least I think so. I've tried to make it that way. And if you know how Jeopardy works, it's kind of like, I want to do Who Said That for 10 points. And so you get this question. And if you get the question right, you get 10 points. I'm just going to be the little game host. They have no idea we're playing this. Also, actually, they have no idea. Well, I don't think anyone else knows that it's 1 year of book club, except for me. I like realized it and then I was like, wait, this could be a fun little like birthday party vibe. So why not make the most of it? And once I realized, I was like, it's more fun if they don't know because then I can keep it a surprise. And I love surprising my friends. So hopefully they don't know. And they're just gonna walk into this and be like, what on earth is going on? Also, obviously this is the table setting. I ended up changing the middle because I did not like the candles that I'd put out. So I put some old books, like vintagey looking books, obviously because book club, and then just some different candles, and then obviously got a pen for each person and a little whatever these are called because it's a party, obviously. And what's also really fun is that we're gonna do a smash cake. I think for George's TikTok, it's like a trend on TikTok. If you haven't seen it, it's basically where you get, I don't know why this is the thing, but it's just a little bit of fun. You have a cake and then you each have like a skewer with a photo of one of your celebrity crushes on there. I printed out all of mine. This is Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean, one of my first crushes. So I need to tape that. And then you'll be like, hi, my name's Rachel and I brought Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean. And I need to choose 8 because we said we needed 8 and I've printed off more than 8. So I need to choose which ones I want. And we tried to come up with some that are kind of rogue. I'll give you another sneak peek. We have Azriel from Akatar. There are a bunch of other guys in here, but you'll have to watch the TikTok to see it. But I need to attach my skewers to my photos. But it's really fun because we're doing a smash cake and obviously it's our birthday, book club birthday, and we have a cake. George is bringing the cake. She doesn't even know that it's book club's birthday, but she's bringing the cake. I'm so excited. I feel like it's my birthday. I'm taping my crushes to my skewers. I'll show you a few of mine because I don't know if I've ever really talked about my celebrity crushes. First up, we have one of my biggest crushes of all time, and that is Brian O'Connor from the Fast and Furious series. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love Fast and Furious. It's a bit rogue, like a lot of people are like, Rachel, I don't understand, but I don't know. We also have Tom Clare from Love Island, the UK Love Island, and he is from All Stars, but also another season. What number is it? He was with Sammy and Casey and Claudia. I don't remember which number it was. But some of the ones that, like, I printed out too many because we wanted to have 8 each. And I literally have way more than 8, apparently. But some of the ones that didn't make the cut, unfortunately. Which, like, this actually hurts my soul. Conrad Fisher, Charlie from Cheaper by the Dozen, Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean, aka Orlando Bloom, but, like, specifically in this movie. Obviously, we have to have Jess from Gilmore Girls because I'm obsessed with him. I also have Finnick Odair, or Sam Claflin, but like specifically Finnick Odair from The Hunger Games. And then Niall Horan, because he's the cutest man to ever exist. I adore him. And that's it.
Oh, that's I love oh, what's this? Wow. Oh.
Happy birthday, book club!
Is this the year?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Can I start with a who, what, where?
Mm-hmm.
A 10.
Ooh. What was the main character's name in Five Survive?
Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna say like red. It wasn't red. It was!
Yes!
Yeah! Good job. Who said that? For 15. Ooh!
Hello, 922.
Oh, lessons in chemistry.
Oh.
Yeah!
Miscellaneous for 10.
Which author is also a doctor?
Philippa Perry, locked in.
Incorrect.
Oh! Freedom McFadden?
Yeah.